Thanks so much for staying with us. It is Cappy Talk 100.4 FM. Harari's Heartbeat in the second hour of the deep dive. And we did start things off in this hour with the sounds of Citizen Queen, Killing Me Softly. And then we got into some Nashi Zim featuring Nyasha David, Kuningirozi. And I think I actually started things off with the sounds of Adele, Send My Love to Your New Lover. It is 23 minutes past 7, and I welcome you to the exchange. Now, we actually are on the bar this evening, and we are joined as always by our guest, Kuda Maseyemwa. Kuda, hi, how is it going?
Hi Rumpi, how to everyone out there? How is it? I'm good.
Good. It's been a while, hey?
Yeah, it has been a minute.
a few hours actually, but good to have you once again. And you know, as always, we like to spotlight on legal issues, or just to see, you know, where the legal legal aspects can be implemented, where, you know, the law intersects. You know, sometimes people will ask you, Saka, you know, what does that mean, and what are our rights when things like that are happening? So this evening we want to talk about bullying and the increase of bullying and the consequences of this from a legal standpoint, really. And, you know, just to give context to the conversation, there have been many things, and the one common denominator is that social media has been, you know, really the revealer of injustice, the revealer of all these things happening. So the first one, I believe, was an issue from a Goromonzi high school, where prefects were, you know, waking the Form 2s, Form 1s up, you know, as early as 2 a.m. Then, you know, the conversation was, is that hazing? Where do we draw the line between that and bullying? And then famous Bybit, who was being bullied and withstood. Some people are celebrating that, but other issues are coming out of that. So just as our point of departure, I mean, that's our context for the discussion this evening. What do you make of all these things happening around us, Kuda?
Yeah, it's quite sad, and it's a situation probably that have been there for quite some time, but we have had a couple of times when we have had such acts, such conduct being condemned, and but in schools, bullying is said to be very rampant in our time, in our generation, and what is happening. This is a quite sad story, so to say, like the one that you are referring to, of prefects bullying other students and what have you. And but bullying have got its own roots. Probably that's where we want to center the discussion on, Rumbi, to say where do this animal called bullying starts? Where does it come from, and how can it be curbed? What needs to be done to curb it? Lest we address the symptoms and not the root cause. We need to go down and deep and search within and also without, and then come up with a possible solution to say what are the causes of these things that we are seeing. Where would a child have gotten that attitude of having a propensity to come and being rough to another child, or bullying another child, with all the forms of bullying? Because remember, bullying takes a whole lot of different forms. You have highlighted one which is rampant in our time, that of cyberbullying, which is a very big concern. A certain school that is in Harare last year recorded that there was this Form 2 girl whose conversation with her boyfriend were leaked at the whole school. She ended up committing suicide. That qualifies under cyberbullying as well, because it's the use of ICT to cause discomfort to another child. So we have got, I think this is the biggest challenge of a child-to-child bullying, because the moment we talk about two children and by definition, the legal definition of a child in terms of the Children's Act is that a child is any person who is below the age of 18. So we have this scenario where we have children bullying one another. It's quite a very big challenge, especially to address legally, because the moment they are both children, in most instances, they are also both victims. The one who is perpetrating the bullying and the one who is the recipient of the bullying, they are both victims. If we are to go into what I earlier said, we need to go into the root cause of bullying. What would have happened for people or for these children to end up bullying one another? But bullying also transcends the level of child to child bullying. We also have adult to child bullying. We also have child to adult bullying. And all these forms of bullying needs to be put in their right categories and then addressed. But one thing that I put across is that we have a wolf at our doorstep that needs to be dealt with in the form of bullying in all its forms, be it cyberbullying, be it physical bullying, verbal, emotional, be it there is also institutional bullying. There are institutions which are known.
So let's break it down, Kuda, and maybe give us, for each of those, the physical bullying. You said parent to child bullying, child to child bullying, institutional bullying. Maybe break that, those down for us, if you can.
All right. So basically there are too many. We may not.
We'll be here all night.
Yes, we'll be here all night. But the most popular, we have this physical bullying, like the one that trended of another student who was incessantly bullying the other child, telling her to put down the school bag so that they get into a fight. The other child tried to ignore. By the way, it's being said that incident took back
a while ago,
back.
isn't it? Yeah.
So we have those scenarios, and then there is that physical contact where there is the beating up, the kicking, the dragging, spitting, and the like. They all qualify under physical bullying. And this, I think this is the most popular. But there is also another form of bullying which is not popular and which is very hard to detect, where those, in most instances, we have children in school, and then there are those who are group leaders, or should I say gang leaders. But at that particular time, they are just the alphas of any particular class. In other words, most of the students, they want to follow them. They're the ones who dictate which game they are going to play, the way they are going to be playing, where they are going to be having their lunch, and everybody follows them. So there is this form of bullying of segregating others, whereby another child will just say, "You are at Tambenewe, we don't want you close by." And then the child is segregated, or they are separated. They are lonely in most of the the times. And when they try to speak out, they try to make a contribution, it's usually received with ridicule. If you continue to talk, you see some of such things like that. And this is very problematic, because in institutions where physical bullying is not an issue, teachers and those guardians may find it very difficult to dictate that there is a form of bullying that is actually taking place here, when it is actually taking place. So this is another, and it's very traumatic, because you begin to see the victim the recipient of the bullying developing certain characteristic traits that are disturbing. They are suddenly withdrawn. They just want to be by themselves. They start to develop an addiction on their gadgets, be it a phone. They are antisocial. They begin to be repulsive, even in a normal conversation. They don't want to engage. They become antisocial and what have you. And some of the times it's not because of the character of the child and say, he's an introspect. Sometimes it's a result of bullying that would have taken place, and then they decide to just dig in and have it inside them that no, I'm not wanted, I'm not liked. Then there is also another form of bullying which is verbal. Now we are talking about body shaming. We are talking about where others they talk ill of maybe you have a disability, maybe you have a condition that you have, maybe it's a question of your performance in school, maybe it's a question of your background, your parents havana motor. And every parent's child vanoya kunotora vana vavo nemota vako havana mota, and then there is a verbal bullying to that effect where other kids will start to talk to you, call you names and what have you. It's another form of bullying that is there in these institutions, and it's not something new. We all faced that during our time. It's just that, as you have rightly said, there is the element of social media now, which have started to expose the degrees and the levels of this bullying, and it's appearing as if it's an extreme. These are things that have been there. Yes, they may now be have evolved, being done. It's now Pro Max. Should I say? You wanted to come in? I was going to
come in, Kuda, and ask you. You know, I think the question is: at what point, where do we draw the line between what you said, anti-time, right?
Yeah.
Hazing. You know, I know it happens in sports teams, boys' schools, etc. Where can we draw the line? Or maybe it's that way we're getting it wrong, that there is no line to draw. All of it is bullying. You know, pane mati pro max, pane light, pane bullying light, ne bullying pro max. And as you're answering that, I also want you to talk a little bit about policy within the school, within the institution. The Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education, I know at some point we're pushing for anti-bullying code of conduct and anti-bullying aspects to be incorporated into my code of conduct. And you may also know that there were a few cases. There was one case from St. Ignatius in 2023. A 15-year-old boy from Bulawayo took his own life after complaining of bullying. Msengezi, 2023, broken jaw. Student suffered a jaw. St. Columba's High School, a Form 4 learner was stabbed. And then another video of 4 girls from Ruwange Day Secondary School in Manicaland assaulting another learner.
Yeah, this is quite disturbing. The statistics are not good. They are not good at all. And these are only reported. You can now imagine the remote schools and those institutions where such things are not being reported, but they are happening. So the statistics are bad. They are not good. Something needs to be done. I would like to believe that more than just encouraging schools to adopt anti-bullying policies, we need more than that. Yeah, definitely we need more than that. I will give my 2 cents in respect of what exactly probably would need to be done. But yeah, kugededza is part of bullying. That's bullying. It's chirungu chechishona chekungoedza kuda kurerutsa things that are not right. You can't be taking another child's stuff. You can't be taking their food and saying that's bullying. You are bullying that particular child. And the moment it goes, the line to draw with bullying is when the action becomes uncomfortable to another child. Immediately that's bullying. So where do we divide it? Yes, I played volleyball partly when we were at school, and sometimes we'd do those war cries, would call each other with nicknames and what have you, you know. As long as I'm a willing participant in that and I'm comfortable with it, we can do it. We can, in rugby they do this. You could maybe you are the last to arrive, then unosika uchipinda mline and everyone is giving you mambama and what have you. As long as you are willing participant in that and you are saying it's boosting our spirit, bonding us together, then that's fine. But the moment that another child becomes uncomfortable with the action, then it becomes bullying. And it has to stop. I think I have had issues that you are talking about anti-bullying policies in schools being incorporated into the code of conduct. But it comes back to where the problem is if it's a child-to-child bullying. Remember, I said, according to me, I think it means both these kids, they are victims of cyberbullying because the perpetrator, it means something went wrong. There is need for corrective measures. The victim, the recipient, well, they need more help because their demeanor, their self-worthy, self-actualization, and self-respect is attacked. And so they need counseling, they need help. But both parties would need that. If it's a child-to-child, the problem is, what do you do with a child who is the perpetrator? Because if we say let's put policies which say we will expel them to where?
And also we're denying them, isn't it, of their own right to education in the expulsion period.
Exactly. That's where the biggest challenge is with regards to these policies. So I think from the few anti-bullying policies that I have had sight of, the one for St. George's, it's detailed, it's good. It's good. If you look at it, you read it, it's thorough, it touches on all the forms and the manner in which it comes. So, but you would also find out that it's clear now when it's teacher-to-child bullying, because immediately the law takes its course. You get it? So even yes, we can apply Section 5 of the Children's Act if it's a criminal offense. The bullying results in a criminal offense on a child-to-child. That is, maybe if these kids are now in secondary school and they're above the age of 12, 13, thereabout, then the presumption that they cannot commit an offense falls away. So if the bullying involves theft, that's a criminal offense. So yes, it can be reported, and then we can then invoke all these trial diversion issues and what have you. They can be invoked that way. But what if we are dealing with, because bullying happens in primary school?
It does.
Yeah.
It does.
It does. So how do we deal with it? My take would be, our approach to bullying should be a double-edged sword, so to say. In the first instance, it should be to address the root cause so that there is no bullying. Then our policies should come in as educative in the first instance, correctional in the second instance, and punitive in the most extreme instances. But where I see the problem is that we the moment we talk about policies, laws, and what have you, we go to the punitive part of it. If you do this, we will punish you. So we want it to be a deterrence measure. But that usually doesn't work. Even in adults, in most instances, it doesn't work. I always say, if it would work, we would not have cattle rustlers in Zimbabwe. Because really, a beast which costs you $200, you will save 9 years imprisonment for it. But it's
not deterrent.
it's increasing actually. So the harsh penalties are not really proving to be a deterrent measure, but they harden people. Now we are talking about kids. That's why I was saying, if we have a school policy that prevents or that prohibits bullying, and it prescribes expelling the perpetrator of bullying from school, what it is doing is that it will not prevent bullying.
Let's dig deeper into that, Kuda. Okay, so what do you propose then? Akanganisa mwana uyu oitwa sei oendeswa kupi, and also just looking at some statistics. There's a UNESCO report called Behind the Numbers, Ending School Violence and Bullying. It indicated that in Zimbabwe, 47.1% of learners, particularly in boarding school, have been bullied at school at least once a month. It went on to say the prevalence of bullying is higher amongst girls than boys, so 50.1%, and in boys it's 43.9%. And then the type of bullying, so there was physical bullying is the most common, as you were talking about, 23.1%, followed by sexual bullying, 10.9%, and psychological bullying. Physical appearance was the most common factor that constituted bullying, followed by race, nationality, or color. And the report also shows physical fights and attacks on schools and on children in schools, with 39.4% of children having been involved in a physical fight and 31.9% having been physically attacked, right?
Yeah.
With those figures, you're saying expulsion of the perpetrator is not a solution.
Yeah. Because we are going to expel 40% of the kids.
Well, clearly, if you look at those statistics, so how do we deal with bullying then?
All right. So Ruby, are you saying we then send these kids home? They don't go to school?
No,
They
not
stay
home. In
Where?
the same way that we send prisoners to a special place for them to reconsider, maybe it should be, a school like that. But then I suppose your argument would be Ikazaravan Vesewari rejected from all these other places it could be.
That would be a form of rejection. That's where the challenge would be. The moment you say we are sending you to a special school that deals with and then it's traumatic.
School for the gifted.
No, I think the starting point is the environment in which these children are coming from. Rumbi, I stated in another conversation that we had here that family is the smallest unity of a community.
Absolutely, yeah. Microcosm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the families that are the places, the homes that these children are coming from are the ones that are contributing, because these kids are coming from home released into the schools, and they are released with those attitudes, with those so the starting point is for us to have an environment that is child friendly, is to have an environment that speaks to a child as a child. Okay, so I think this is where the greatest problem is coming from. We have since negated our duty as parents, and Rumbi, where I have a very big problem is in hearing adults. I'll give an example. If we start to talk about child prostitution right now, you hear a whole adult man, woman, arguing that vana vamuri kutaura vama 16 17 years ma willing participants.
Crazy. How can they be willing participants?
I'm telling you this. You hear them justifying that no, hakuna a 16-year-old ari kuabuswa mazuano. They'll tell you what I'm telling you right now. They say they are willing participants in those activities. So if we are having a community that is seeing kids frequenting the bars, those social places, the last time we were talking about the Mashwede issue of that child who ended up reporting that rape.
Ribe. I think it was Ribe at the time.
You get it. and then we were talking about it, that when you go there right now, and you see the girls which are there. I mean, the 20-year-olds, 22-year-olds, vanenge vakutonzi majembere, because kune vana ndo vari kuita frequent, and we are having a father of a 16-year-old daughter who is leaving his daughter in the home, a mother who is leaving her daughter in the home, goes to the pub, sees a child of the same age with her child who is at home, and they are saying it's normal. Who has the problem, Rumbi? Who is sick in their head?
It's the adults. The adults, definitely.
So we have the problem. But blame game takainzwisisa this generation. We are so good at it. We are so good at ama 2000 atiwagone. I remember maichi samba wachipenga nenyaya yokuti vambori vana vani ngoiwa. Vakabva mubamani. You get it?
Yeah.
So we have this attitude of not wanting to take responsibility of creating the environment that have propelled these kids to do what they are doing, to be into drugs, to be having those ruddy behaviors that goes unchecked. Parents, we have become obsessed with business, looking for money and other stuff to do what, so that we send our children to the greatest, the biggest, the most beautiful schools. So the highest numbers of this bullying is happening not in the ordinary schools, in those boarding schools, in those private schools, because those children never received any form of parenting.
Wow. Yeah, the truth must be said.
Yeah.
Eh?
The parents are busy saying, I want to give my child the best life. Look, besides being a lawyer, me pastor.
Amen, Pastor. I always say,
So
but Pastor Kuda in the house.
yeah, so I have observed this. I spoke to a certain child who told their mom, when their mom was saying, do you know what I sacrificed to send you to private school? And she said, I wish you had not.
Oh, no.
Because I never had a mother in my life.
Ooh. Wow.
And she was now very emotional, angry.
That's not easy to hear. That's not easy.
It's not easy. Unofane bhipi rumsazombozvita ndapota mwana wako unodona tikanetseka tikazara tisina magweta muZimbabwe. So we have to be realistic to ourselves. Let's look into the environment that we have.
Whilst you're there, Kuda, I want to ask something. Parents have come back, that having heard that accusation, they then say, no, it's because of my rights. Even if we try and tell Mana kutu sadaro, Iya Mana knows that I've got rights. They'll even be quoting articles for you of the United Nations Convention. Right to this and that. Let's put that into context and put it to rest.
All right.
Vabereki are also saying on one hand, isusu vana vari kuti tinema rights, ndivo vari kuenda their own way, and they do their what shall we say? Well, what's the term is leaving me now. But they don't want to be corrected.
No,
Very obstinate.
There is no law that prohibits a parent from parenting their own children, disciplining their own children. There is every law that prohibits abuse. So the line to be drawn is when you abuse a child in the form of discipline. That becomes an issue.
Where is the difference? The word I was looking for is incorrigible. Yes, the law, for your own information, the law, I was going to, maybe we need to take this into next week. It's quite interesting. But the law actually knows that there are children who cannot be corrected by their parents. So the Children's Act actually provides for that. And it defines those children as children in need of care. And if a child cannot be corrected or receive proper parenting or control from the parent or the guardian, there are mechanisms that the law puts in place for that child to be declared a child in need of care. There are institutions which are actually there
which are said that no, that child can be put in that institution for correctional purposes. It's just that we don't know these things, and even if we do know them, we don't want to utilize them, especially if it's your child. Just like with the fight against drugs, one of the things that is hindering that when it comes to parents and children are parents who are not willing to let their children go for rehabilitation. No, not necessarily money, but for rehabilitation. They are saying they have that fear, they have got that. So I think there is more need yema parents kutato dzidziswe. Inini, I would say, Rumbi, these things are possible. Parents also need to be educated on bullying. What constitutes bullying? How can you see that your child is a victim of bullying or a perpetrator of bullying at home? If with the new curricula that we have, almost all parents have adjusted. They now know how to do homework for their kids. But we thought this was not possible when it came. It was appearing as if we can't keep the pace with this. ECD war kuyane homework, one grade 1 war kuyane mas homework. But parents have adjusted. They now know. But how have they done that? I know schools which were actually inviting parents to school so that when they are teaching the kids that this is the new model that we now need, the parents will also be there and learning. I think now, because I have said the first place is the environment in which the child is coming from. The second place is the school itself, because it's another environment. So the school, instead of just coming up with policies that are anti-bullying and what have you, they should take a robust approach to this, include it in the curriculum. That's why I defined it as a wolf at our doorstep. Include it in the curriculum. Let it be there. Let it be a subject or something that is actually taught, and it's taught both to the kids and to the parents, so that tinoita chirwirangwe chokuti the school is doing its part, the parents and the guardians that they are doing their part, the community is also doing their part. So we can't have a scenario where the people in the community are watching bullying taking place and all they do is to record. They take pictures, they take videos, and they say, "Honai mufunge," and then that's it. That's it. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. That's it. We need better. We need better parents. We need better adults who can approach this. But it's more of a hybrid approach that will include everybody. Like what the president said, include everybody's included.
Yes,
We leave no one behind. This cannot be achieved if we are going to delegate that the duty is with the school, and we blame the school. We blame the school headmaster. We blame the the sports master. The boarding master, they are allow this and all that stuff. No. It's not gonna work that way. We will not solve the problem. Let's go to the root cause, and all of us, we have a different culture.
Absolutely. I've got to say I agree. And Ansva Bereki, look inward. You need to be the solution, isn't it? And
Indeed.
all hands on deck approach is what is required.
Yeah.
We've got a number of questions as we wrap up, Kuda. Gogomshunje from Mabuku says, this is sad. Anzi kunobva mwana ndokunenyaya kumba ngatite basa rekuraira vana. So very much, in tune with what you were saying. We've also got a voice note here coming from 326. Take a listen.
Makadi ini ndinofunga varungu pavangakaisa enzi probation iye yanga yakanaka. Probation kwaendeswa vana vainetsa musociety, vaivhingidza kugara kwavamwe vana, nevaiba nevaita zvisina kunaka, vese vaienda ikoko. Saka nzvimbo idzodzo dzakaiswa navachena dzanga dzakanaka. Ngatidzokerei patsika iyoyo kuti atadza mwana ngaaende anogara ikoko, orayirwa achidzidziswa ariko ikoko. ndatenda.
Thank you so much. Nepfungwa dzenyu ndozviri kurambwa kana kuda munomu kuti anzi don't know, keep them within society, don't send them away, don't ostracize them, ngavangoramba ri padhuze dhuze dhuze. Aiwa ngavaende kupromotion kwataurwa nababa pana. Your thoughts as we wrap this one up?
All right, I think yeah, I know that it's quite a mammoth task to call for parents to take the responsibility, because they are trying. Like I said, they will be saying we don't have time with these kids, not because we are neglecting them, but we are actually doing everything for them. And I would like to bring back this issue of also that Zimbabweans may know this. There are instances where we know the parents of this child, they are not responsible. They are always drunk. They are not doing anything. They are not doing parenting. Vana havasi kutoenda kuchikoro kana kuti vazopedzera vaiswa pabhimu or whatever. But the parents, they have neglected those children. Zimbabweans must know that in situations like those, custody, the courts can actually take away custody of that child from their biological parents and give it to a non-biological parent, to a guardian, grandfather, grandparent, brothers, sisters. You have the right to apply to court and say, uyu mwana hanzvadzi yangu haisi responsible. Both of them, they are neglecting this child. I need to be awarded custody yemwana uyu ndimuise pa-environment yaanokwanisa kukura zvakanaka, yaanokwanisa kudzidza zvakanaka. The courts can actually go to those extremes of taking away custody from the biological parents if the child is indeed found to be a child in need of care. So my parting words would be, nyaya inoda chirwira inotangira pamba, the environment that we have. Isusu sevabereki, sema-guardians, sema-relatives, sema-community members, let's bring out the child that we want from every child within our community. We will not have these problems of bullying. Lastly, I would say issues of bullying nga addresswe, nga reportwe. Let's encourage our kids, be it character yake ndeyo kusada kutaura, but let them know they have a right to speak. If they are abused, they should speak it out. Let them know that I have a shoulder to lean on. My parents or my guardian or bamkuru wangu, we will never put blame on me kuti why ndiri kubuliwa, and they will not say to me I'm a weakling saka ndichidererwa nevamwe wana. No, let's create that environment that allows the victims of bullying to report so that these issues may be addressed. The perpetrator and the victim may be helped.
It's a good place for us to end the conversation. And you're right. I think we need a part 2 of this one, Kuda. Thank you so much for your insights. A message very clear for the parents, guardians, everyone involved. Bullying is something that we can actually bring to an end, but we must take responsibility. Many thanks to my guest, Kuda Maseyemwa, a lawyer and legal analyst. He'll be joining us again next week as we sit on the bar and continue to discuss issues that plague you. The time is exactly 8 o'clock. It's time for the news. Kuda, thank you so much and good night.
Good night, Rumbi.
Instrumental in informing the nation